If you're just joining us, my name is Keith Barker, and this video is part of the playlist for Palo Alto Firewalls 0 to 60. So in this video, we're going to focus on this first task right here, a factory reset of the Palo Alto Firewall and the initial bootstrap configuration to give it an IP address so we can manage it over the network. And let me go ahead and introduce this hardware to you right now. And here it is. This is a little PA440. Let me give you a better view of the front here. So we have 8 Ethernet ports. These are gigabit ports right here. We have an Ethernet management port right here. We've got a console port with an RJ45 connection, also a USB connection for console access. This is a PA440. That's the model number of this device. And as we continue, I've got a switch right here below it with some Ethernet ports and cables that we'll be plugging in. However, initially, to bootstrap this device, I'm going to use this cable right here. And this is a rollover cable that goes from my computer, from a USB port, over to the console port. So that way we can get initial access to work with and manage this firewall for its initial configuration. So I'll go ahead and plug the console cable into the console port, and then we'll head back to the computer, use a terminal emulator, and connect through this console cable to this firewall. So I'm currently logged on to the firewall via the console port, and what I'm going to do is a factory reset of this device right now. So here at the command prompt for the firewall, we're going to issue the command debug system maintenance mode and press enter. The prompt that comes back says, executing this command will disconnect the current session and reboot the system into maintenance mode. And do you want to continue? So I'm going to respond with Y to that, and the system is now going down. It's going to reboot. It's going to come back up into maintenance mode. And from there, I'm going to issue a factory reset. And thanks to the magic of editing, this will only take a few seconds on camera. However, in reality, it might take 4 to 5 minutes for each of these boots. All right, so now it's booted into maintenance mode. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter to continue. And then I'll hit the down arrow a couple times to go to factory reset and press enter here. And it currently has PAN-OS, that's the operating system on the firewall, of 11.0.1, so I'm going to use that. And I'm not going to go ahead and choose the scrub option, because if I did, it would take hours and hours to do a factory reset here. So I'm going to bypass the scrub. So I'm just going to arrow down to factory reset, and then with factory reset highlighted, press enter again. And this factory reset is probably going to take about 4 to 5 minutes to go ahead and complete. Now this is a PA440, it's like the baby bear version of the hardware appliances. So it's not going to be quite as fast as a higher end model. So through the magic of editing, once again, this process for the factory reset, although in reality it may take 4 to 5 minutes, on camera, it'll take about 10 seconds. All right, so it is on its way, and when it's done, we'll resume together. And just as a reminder, it's this physical firewall, which is a PA440, which is going through that factory reset right now. All right, over 70%, we're almost there. All right, and it is done. So I'm going to go ahead and use the arrow keys to go down to reboot. Press enter, and now the firewall is going to reboot just like it came in from the factory. So any existing configuration or log files or anything else like that that were on that firewall, they are completely gone. So this reboot also is going to take a few minutes, and after it fully reboots and initializes, we also want to pay attention to the prompt, because we want to tell it that we want to stop the zero-touch provisioning and that we want to configure the firewall manually. All right, so for this question, do you want to exit ZTP mode and configure the firewall in standard mode? We're going to type in YES for that and press enter. It's going to say, are you sure? I'm going to say Y and press enter. And then it's going to go ahead and reboot once again. So the benefit of saying no to the zero-touch provisioning is that we can now walk through the process manually together and not need Panorama or any cloud services for the initial configuration bootstrap of the firewall. So once again, this boot will take about, 2 to 3 minutes. And when it reboots, we'll come right back and we'll resume together. And in preparation for our next step here regarding IP management, let's talk about how we're going to manage this physical appliance. There's the management port here, and I have that management port connected into my home office network, which is the 192.168.1 network with a 24-bit mask. And I want to use the IP address of .19 for managing this Palo Alto firewall. So my management computer is right here. And currently I have my console cable going over to the console port on the Palo Alto firewall, and that's our current CLI or command line interface access to the firewall at the moment. But once we configure an IP address on the management interface, we can then go ahead and start interacting with the Palo Alto firewall from the management PC over the IP network instead of using the console cable. So once it has an IP address, we could connect to it with SSH, or we could use a browser with HTTPS to connect and work with the firewall. So now that the firewall is booting up, what we're going to do is, still using the console cable, I'm going to give the firewall a name like Firewall 19. We'll give the management interface the IP address of 192.168.1.19. I'll specify a default gateway, which is .1. I'll specify a DNS server it can use. And the initial login to do the configuration on the firewall is the username admin and the password of admin. That's the default. However, once we log in, it's going to force us to change the password from admin to some other password of our choice. So now that the firewall is completely rebooted, let's go back to our management PC with my terminal emulation program, which is Secure CRT, which is using the serial connection here to go to the console port on the Palo Alto firewall. And let's initially configure the firewall with its basic IP addressing information. So here at the firewall, we'll go ahead and log in as admin. The default password is admin, so we'll put that in as the password. And now it's asking us to change the password, starting with what is the old password, which is still admin, so I'll type that in. And now I'll specify the new password I want to use on this firewall. And once I've typed that in, I'll confirm that and press enter. And now we are logged into operational mode here on the firewall. And for the initial bootstrap, here are the commands that we are going to issue. We're going to type in configure, which puts us into configuration mode on the firewall. And then we're going to do some set device config system commands to specify the host name, the IP address that we want to use on the management interface, along with the mask, which is a 24-bit mask, the default gateway it should use on the management interface, the DNS server settings, and actually I want to change this one to 192.168.1.100. I have an internal DNS server it can use, and we'll back that up with a Google DNS server at 8.8.8.8. And then I'll specify an NTP server out on the public internet. And we'll click on paste, and away it goes. So that paste function was part of the Secure CRT terminal emulation program. Now on some networking devices, when you put in a command in the configuration mode, it'll automatically take those commands and use them. However, on some networking devices, like a Palo Alto firewall, when we input commands in configuration mode, those are made part of what's called the candidate configuration. And to move those from the candidate configuration over to the running configuration, we need to issue a commit. So this commit is simply taking these changes that we implemented and putting them into action. So once this is completely done, these settings will now be enforced and start being used on the firewall. All right, so that commit has now completed. Let's take a look at our topology. So now that we have this IP address, 192.168.1.19, assigned to this management interface, it'd be convenient if we physically connected that to my home network. So our next step is to put a physical cable in place between the management interface and this VLAN where my management computer is. So let's do that next. So here's the Palo Alto firewall. Here's the management port, and this cable leads off to a switch, which is right below it, which leads off to VLAN 1, which is where I have the 192.168.1 network. So I'll go ahead and plug that in. And as a result of this firewall and its management interface now being connected to the network and being correctly configured with the IP address I want to use, we should be able to connect to this firewall for management via this Ethernet port. So we should be able to connect via SSH, and we should also be able to open up a web browser to this IP address on this management interface for the management of this firewall. So let's test both of those on this firewall right now. So currently with Secure CRT, I'm currently connected on my local serial port COM5. Let me go ahead and open up a new connection. And let me zoom in a little bit there so it's easier to read. And let's go ahead and connect over to 192.168.1.19. That's the IP address we just assigned to the management interface. The default port for SSH is TCP port 22. I'll log in as admin, and we'll click on connect. It asks me if I want to accept the host key based on this SSH session because it's a brand new connection. And it's also asking me for a password, which I will type in. So this is the password we just reset a few moments ago at the CLI, and I'm going to tell Secure CRT to please save that password for me, and we'll click on OK. All right, and so now we're connecting to the IP address of 192.168.1.19 via SSH, and we are in. So here if we do a show system info and press enter, we can confirm a few things, including the IP address that we assigned on the management interface, the default gateway it's using, the model number, PA440, the version of Pan OS that we're using, etc. So now that we know we can access it via SSH, let's also verify we can access this firewall at its management interface via a browser. So as I connect over to 192.168.1.19, because at the moment it's using a self-signed certificate, my browser is giving me a warning. That's normal for a brand new firewall with a self-signed certificate. We'll click on Advanced. I'll click on Proceed. We'll log in as admin. We'll put in the password that we set up a few minutes ago and click Login. All right, and we have some welcome messages here. So I'll say, don't show that one, and don't show that one, and don't show that one, and don't show that one for future logins, and we'll click on Close. It's also encouraging us to set up telemetry data collection. I'm going to go ahead and say OK to that, and we can revisit that later. And then here we are at the dashboard. We can clean this up a little bit. And let me move system resources up here. We don't need that widget. And if we wanted to add additional widgets here, we could. Let's go to widgets and go to system. And let me bring the interfaces. And I'll move that over right here. Fantastic. And if we need to change or modify the details on our management interface, that's done by clicking here on device on the top tab, and the left clicking on setup. And then with setup selected on the left, we click on this sub tab of interfaces, and here's our management interface. So if we click on that, if we need to change the details, we could do it right here. So by default, it's allowing ping to the management interface, it's allowing SSH and HTTPS for web management. Now this firewall has already been registered with Palo Alto. However, because I did a factory reset, this firewall doesn't know about its licenses. So with device on the top selected, on the left, let's scroll down to licenses right here. And currently it says, I don't know. So I'm going to click right here on retrieve license keys from license server up at Palo Alto Networks. So it went out, retrieved the licenses, and these are all the licenses that are in place on this firewall. And again, this is only here because previously I'd registered this firewall with Palo Alto. If it's a brand new firewall that hadn't been registered yet, you'd want to go through the registration process. That way you could apply your licenses for the firewall. The second thing we want to do on a factory reset firewall is also to make sure we have the latest and greatest updates. So to check that, with device tab still selected, on the left we'd go over to software. Here it says no updated information available, and that's because we need to click here on check now, so we can go out and see what the latest and greatest versions are regarding the PanOS software. So now it's showing us that the latest version is 11.01, and that's the flavor I currently have installed, so that's great. The next thing we should check is to make sure we have the latest and greatest updates regarding the features of antivirus and threat protection and so forth. So because it's a brand new firewall here, it doesn't show anything at the moment, so we'll click here on check now. So again, this is on device, dynamic updates, check now, and this should show us what's available. All right, so this is showing us wildfire, device dictionary. However, what it's not showing us by default is any information regarding antivirus. So that's a normal behavior that I've experienced. So what we'll do first is we'll go to applications and threats, and let's download the latest and greatest version of applications and threats. So I'll click here on download. So that's actively downloading that. So we'll go ahead and let that finish. So we can close this little status window, and later we can go back to Task Manager by clicking on Task down here, and that can show us our status. Also, this firewall in the background went out and got its device certificate from Palo Alto Networks, and that's because it had previously been registered with Palo Alto. So once that download is done regarding applications and threats, we'll go ahead and let that finish in the background. Once that download completes and this screen is refreshed, we'll have a little check right here to indicate that this flavor of the applications and threats has been downloaded, and they're just updated. Fantastic. And then from here, we can click on install to go ahead and start using the latest and greatest applications and threats. So we'll click on continue installation. So that's in motion. We'll click on close. So that's in the process now of installing the applications and threats. And once it's done, and then once we click on check now, we'll also, based on the licensing I have, it'll also show us the options for the antivirus signatures as well. So to save a few moments, I'm going to go ahead and download all the latest and greatest versions, click on check now, and then get everything up to date. And while that's cooking, let me go ahead and close that. It'll continue in the background. Let's also do a little initial cleanup as well regarding a brand new firewall. And to do that, we'll go to the network tab, and by default on this firewall, it has a virtual wire set up by default. So if you're not using a virtual wire, we can go ahead and just delete it. So we'll click here on network, and on the left, we'll select virtual wires. And there's our default virtual wire. Let's go ahead and delete it and click on yes. And the other thing I'm going to do is go to our policies. We'll get more into this as we go into further configuration. But initially, I'm going to click on policies and go to our security policy by clicking on security on the left. And this default rule, rule 1, I'm going to go ahead and delete that as well. So with it highlighted, selected, we'll click down here on delete and click on yes. So here in the web interface for the Palo Alto Firewall, when we're making changes, these changes are only being made to the candidate configuration. It's not the running config. Just like at the CLI, if we want to move our changes over to the running config, we need to go ahead and commit those changes. So to do that in the GUI, we click up here on commit, and then here's a summary, and then we'll go ahead and click on commit to confirm our commit. So now that commit is active, it's in motion, we'll go ahead and click on close, let that finish in the background. And if we ever need to check on the status of our commit, we can go down here to tasks, and that will show us our current status. So that's in motion. It'll be done here in a moment. And while that's finishing up, let's also go back to device and go back down to dynamic updates on the left here. And now that we have the applications and threats installed, let's go ahead and click on check now. And what that should show us, it should also show us now the antivirus at the top. And sure enough, so there's our antivirus. So I'll go ahead and download the latest version by clicking on download, So that is currently downloading the latest and greatest antivirus definitions. So we'll let that finish. And once it's done, there'll be a check here saying it's downloaded. And then we'll go ahead and install it once the download is complete. All right, so it's downloaded. Let's go ahead and click on install. So now it's actually installing the antivirus definitions on the firewall. So we'll go ahead and click on close, let that finish in the background. We can also schedule the dynamic updates for antivirus applications and threats and so forth. So they happen at a frequency and interval that we specify automatically. So let me go ahead and check on the status by clicking here on tasks, and it is almost done. So as we take a look at our progress together, we did a factory reset of this Palo Alto firewall. We set up the IP address for the management interface that we want to use. We also verified we could connect to that device via SSH and through the web interface. We checked to make sure it had a license. We checked to make sure we had a current version of the software, the PAN-OS, running on the firewall. And we also did the dynamic updates for getting applications and threats and viruses. So what is our next step? Well, our next step is to go ahead and set up the layer 3 interfaces, specifically this one, and this one, and also to configure the security zones in preparation to support user traffic going through the firewall. And that is exactly what you and I get to do in the very next video as part of this playlist. So if you have time, I'll see you there in just a moment.